Sugarbelt 400 down in Natal. And Greg Harvey and Boystone get underway, but it doesn't sound too healthy. Right, now we're into the sugarcane fields, and the leaders, Shamir, Viriava and Khan, are absolutely flying. They haven't got the dust to worry about, but certainly the early morning sun is starting to cause problems. Left-hand drive vehicle, that one. This is only their second year in off-road racing, and they're doing particularly well, leading this race. Here's the competition. The Chippings, they started 3 seconds behind them. Already the dust is getting to them as they sit in their cozy little cockpit. That's an identification light at the back so you can see these cars in the dust. Japan Cross and the Volvo Beetle are absolutely hauling, and the Gurneys have turned up the wick in the B class in that 2-seater Sandmaster. And look at the speed of that cattle farmer from Freiburg, R.P. Reinicke and Robin Houghton in that Castrol Toyota. Out of the mist, Bevan Bertel from Northcliffe. He tests his race car around the neighbourhood. He's on a mission too. The dust and sun are getting worse now. How they drive in those conditions. Bertel, of course, is using at the moment a Porsche motor he's borrowed from the Chippings. Here's D4 leading the production vehicle class. The Mitsubishi Pajero looks very good and in control. And this is the actual vehicle that got Woolridge to third in his class in the Dakar. Brilliant performance. Woolridge, of course, from a motorsport family. 50 years in motorsport in that family. And some kind farmer has his water tank out to try and keep the dust from covering his sugarcane. The leader, Shamir Variawa and Liat Khan, they're making a name for themselves in off-road racing this year. Fourth in the Lichtenberg 400, the first event. Second in the Barbaspan 500. And of course the dust is not worrying them as they're still in the lead. They get to the first control. It's a regular check that the organisers have to see that competitors don't take shortcuts but stay on the course. And listen to that big Porsche 6-cylinder engine at work there. The Chippings lost a bit of ground through the dust and sun, but now the sun is up. They can start putting on the pressure as they also hurry into that same checkpoint. Only a few seconds behind now, and they really on a charge. They can see victory in sight for themselves, even at this early stage. Reinicke and Houghton, the mighty Yokohama shot, Castrol Toyota, the Land Cruiser, still joint leaders in the championship with the Campers, in who they drive yet another Toyota Hilux in the super truck class. They've got to stop here before they cross the South Coast Road. A lot of big power in that straight 6 4.5 litre Land Cruiser motor. Fuel injection. Sounds crisp. Had a few problems in the early race. And Nardis, Alberts and Peter Matee in the race car. They're putting out good performance. They have all that equipment, those wheels that these two-seaters have to carry. They started in 14th place, a minute and a half behind the leaders, and they're moving up through the field. The sun is up, and now the Chippings can start to push. It's rough. It's easy to make a mistake here. We have a wonderful country for off-road racing, and the navigators have to work very hard. This is the American Raceco chassis, been modified by the Chippings, and it's got a 2.7 litre flat-four Porsche engine, which just hardened with a lot of power there. And they've made modification. You can see the long travel suspension. Little wing on the roof there. That's the door actually to their cockpit, and they've put a wing on the roof just to get more pressure down the back. And the leaders still flying along in first place, and first on the road, and of course there's no dust for them, but they've got to be very careful. They know the pressure's coming up behind. They've heard from their pit crew that the Chippings on the move, and Woolridge in the blue confrontation of speed. This is where you can do a lot of damage. You go off this road, and it's very hard, that rough road on wheels and tires. Those roots go into the road and then get into sidewalls and damage rims, and here the navigator has really got to earn his keep. And it looks so comfortable. They've actually made it less comfortable than before. They've taken the air conditioning out and also electric windows just to save a little bit of weight. But it's very, very capable vehicle indeed. And this is a sort of country that abounds around this area. There's blue gums. That's where you can easily make a mistake and go off to the right if your navigator is not on the ball. You can see all those roots and the branches that grow along the road or lie along the road there. And still flying along. First place on the road. Still, but the Chippings, they know, are catching. Porsche engine. I mean, it's they've got to be very well filtered, but it's got unending reliability, great power there. Manfred Schroeder and his Pennzoil Orca, he's second in Class B for engines up to just over 2 litres. Johan and Frida van Jaarsveld in their JRE special, they built themselves are going flat in the dust. And hello, new leader, first major control, the Eston service station, and the Chippings are in front. Clear roads ahead for them, although there's no tracks to follow for the navigator. Big advantage, of course, is no dust. As have a look, the Chippings is wrong slotted. Navigation area, they hit that big rock in the middle of the road. Look at the ground clearance they got. And the boys from Botswana, the Variava and Khan, are back in the front. And the dust is going to be a problem once again for the Chippings as they go into that deep forest. Here McGladry's crossing now. Here's Woolridge at home. He knows this area so well. That vehicle has been proved across the Sahara, and of course this is a bit of a doddle for them here. R.P. Reinicke, the Yokohama shot Castrol Toyota, battling in the thick sand. Sounds like they've got a broken exhauster. They've won the roof. They've won the off-road championship many times, and just about every national off-road race going. A very successful team in that Castrol together. Tom Smith from Kempton Park, specialised in Porsche, used to navigate for his father. He's now got a single-seater with a 1600cc Beetle engine, one Class B at Lichtenberg and the Barber's Band. And Newton Love and Colin Pope, the Bigfoot Raceco, third in the class at the moment. Newton used to motocross and ride enduros in the 80s. He's second in Lichtenberg and fourth in the Barber's Band. Hein Krobler and Charles Volbrans in yet another one of those Castrol Toyotas. There's so many of them in this event, they really do concentrate. Also with the Yokohama tyres, they come from Clarksdorp. They're leading the production vehicles at the moment. This is in the class for vehicles up to 3 litre, with some of the other favourites in trouble. Just have a look at the back of the bucky. It's not real bucky at all, it's all fiberglass work as they set off into the forest. And we're getting close to the end of the first lap, and here it is. End of lap 1, 190 k's under the belt at the Beaumont Eston Farmers Club. The leaders, the Chippicks. Look how they get out to the roof. We're going to refuel the car and also the driver. And here's Ralph Pritchard from the KTM team. This is the whole spirit of off-road racing. He's giving a hand to get the Chippicks back on the road. And not far behind in second place, the boys from Botswana, looking for their pit as they come. There are going to be a lot of willing hands helping them also get out to the roof. Here they get out now. It's going to be a quick change. They know they've got the Chippicks ahead and they've got to make up time. Johan and Frieda van Jaarsdorp from Piet Retief, one of the few husband and wife teams. And how did Frieda find this event so far?
Dus lekker, maar is rof. Wat kan ik nog zeggen? Hoe heb je het
And how's this for a professional crew? The Castrol Toyota team get into action. It's like a Grand Prix Formula 1 pit stop there. As Tom Smith arrives, he's leading his class for single-seaters. He hasn't been headed this year. Getting ready to go, that mighty 4.5 litre Land Cruiser. A lot of low down there. And after the cars are a long way down the track, the quads get going at last. Vickers van Devent on the Castrol Jojo Tanks Yamaha Banshee leads by 43 seconds after time trial. There's 66 of these vehicles about to start. Jan Steenkamp on the Yamaha Grizzly 600 with backing from FMF, and Sally Yamaha gets going as well. It's a long 400 k's to go for them. They've got to watch those middle moneykeys. They're not designed for quads with that narrow track. And here's an ATV for farm use. Racing against some very hot built-to-race machine like this one, Brendan Bardenhorst, one of the favourites on a Joburg Yamaha Banshee 350 Racing 12. It's flying. How they keep this up for 400k. John Craig Costello in the Joburg Yamaha is a teammate with O'Neill Racing. He won in Lichtenberg. He's 7 points ahead of Vickers in the championship at the moment. Here's Bikunang Jojo Tank Castrol Yamaha of legend Vickers van Deventer. How he's going to keep it up, and these others know they've got to fly along. John Craig Castelli's dropping in the main road, just wants to get on. He knows that Vickers is on a charge. Behind him, takes it carefully across the South Coast Road. And the next one along is Van Deventer. Master says, get your lights on. He's in the charge, you can hear just revving. Got the lights on. Here he goes, the power to the top. It's a 350 Racing Twin, and it puts out an enormous amount of horsepower. He's really anxious to get. He rode the entire Dakar Sonda Sokkies. Brendan Bardenhorst, we've got a race in our hands here. He's in a hurry too, catching up fast. And this is going to be a real battle amongst these quads. Here's a young lady, Leanne Miller, flying along, 27th fastest after time trials. They're going to mark a helmet. There you can see it at the control, and she gets underway as well, doing very well. And these guys keep up this sort of riding. How they do it for 400 k's, they've got to be super fit. Their heads are down, they're crouching, they're going flat out. Some of the fastest vehicles through sugarcane fields ever. Absolutely going. This machine can get out of control, and it's time now for the motorcycles to start 2 hours after the cars. First away, of course, is Alfie Cox. He's also the 99 Motorsportsman of the Year